Hey, thanks for coming out and covering the team, guys. As always, it feels like we've been doing this for a little bit, but we haven't really, right? And I saw some of you out there in Chicago. Exciting time. I really like this team. I like this staff. I like the way it feels. There's a good vibe, good camaraderie. So we just got to keep building on that. We got to build on our football. We got to make sure that consistency is something that we're building. And I only know one way to do that, and that's make the choice to go out and do the hard things and do them over and over and over again. We call that chopping. So we got a team that I like. A couple announcements, housekeeping stuff. Unfortunately, Zylan Williams we lost him for the season. He had a season-ending injury. Kanan Edwards is no longer with the program. And other than that, I think it is what's on the paper. So with that, I'll open it for questions.
What do you feel like is the most important thing to get accomplished on the first day of camp that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the next couple of weeks?
Well, they reported on Sunday, and there's a lot of paperwork that has to get done, things that have to get done, so we're situated and ready to go. We move on to campus, all of us, as a team, so that all those things got to take place. And then when you get going, it's really like I tell them, one page, one day. And we give them an itinerary one day at a time. And they just, chop the moment is what we talk to them about. Just look at what's next and do your very best at that. I love it because it's the only time of year that we have them all to ourselves. It's just us. And we're isolated here, and we eat together every meal. We meet. These guys, right now they're in the tubs, but they'll get a nice little break here before meetings, and there's air mattresses all over the building, and guys are sleeping, and they come walking into the meetings, and we kind of crank the music up and get going, and it's one thing after another, and that's what I think builds consistency. But you have to perform in each thing. Just to go through the motions, that doesn't build anything. So that's the challenge. I just got done telling the team, it's a battle between your feelings and your choices. You're going to feel one way, you got to make a choice to be consistent and do it every single time.
All eyes are on quarterback, obviously, but other than that, what are the position groups that you're paying particularly close attention to, or you think are really kind of going to set the tone for what this team could do this year?
Yeah, my eyes are on everything. I think we have good competition in a lot of spots. It's the most depth we've had in the program since we've been back. And that's a positive, right? So it allows you to practice a certain way with quality on both fields. But you hit on the head, right? There's a quarterback battle going on, and that's the most important, I think, the most important position in sport. Forget just football. So those guys, are doing a great job. Both of them are, really, the whole quarterback room's doing a great job. But we know who the two guys that are competing for the spot right now, and they're helping each other. They're competing for each other more than with each other, because each one of them is a member of this team. And whichever one wins the job, the other guy's going to be a member of this team and wants to win. So
this program's had a lot of success with guys reclassifying up, joining the program early, making instant impacts. I guess, what's the process that goes into that? How do you decide who's the best fit to do that?
Well, each situation's different, right? Like if you look at the guys that have reclassified, their situation kind of made it a possibility. It's not possible for everyone. Then, even if it's possible, is it the best thing for us, and is it the best thing for the student athlete? And that's what we look at. And when it fits, we're not afraid to do those things, right? Like I think I have a staff of guys that are always looking at, trying to gain every edge that you can. And I was really pleased that, when they started talking about this, that the players wanted to do it. So, yeah, I think who knows where it leads this year, but it certainly gets them started and gets them in the program.
Greg, with so many new faces on defense, how do you build that toughness and being hard to play against that you've had in the past?
Well, I think, it starts and ends with leadership, and Travis has done a great job leading the staff and the players. But now it turns into choice time, right? Every day we go out there and practice, we'll put the pads on tomorrow, and we'll start banging each other, and, you make the choice. You're going to put your face in the fan or you're not, right? And this team will. I'm certain of that.
Greg, you previously said that by practice 12 you're looking to name a starting quarterback. Is that still the timetable, would you say?
Yeah, that was just I got asked the question what would be the ideal time. We won't do it until it's clear, right? It's my hope, though, that it clears itself up sooner than later. That would be the best thing for our team. But you can't make that stuff happen. Once you start trying to manipulate the situation, it has never worked for me. Maybe it's worked for some guys.
With the new 5-for-5 rule, does that kind of affect your philosophy at all with playing freshmen?
Well, I think it's great. I think it does allow you, what you used to have to worry about was, okay, if we have a game where we're in the lead by a lot, all right, we'll get them in there maybe to get some playing time. But then are we using up possible opportunities? They only used to be able to have 4 performances in games before the 5th one counted for the year of eligibility. Now you don't have to worry about that anymore. So, again, it allows you, if a guy can help in one particular facet, it allows you to use them in all 12 or more games if it fits.
In order to make that determination for the quarterback competition, what's the process? What's the separation that you want to see? Is it multiple days of sustained? Is there something you're looking for, a certain metric or?
Well, it's a cumulative decision, right? So it goes all the way back to January when we started the winter program. Every bit of it are data points that go into it. But at the end of the day, Kirk and I are just going to make a decision what we think gives the team the best chance to win. And you know how much respect I have for him. He's the one that's most closely involved. So he's going to have a great deal to do with what I ultimately decide. And then as the head coach, you look at it, what's best for the team. And then you try to make that decision. And, once you do it, you got to give the guy an opportunity to go be the quarterback.
You have a lot of position battles within the offensive line room. Jim Turner's now been here for a little bit. What's kind of the confidence level entering the season with a new coach, new faces, and all that?
I have a great deal of confidence in our offensive line. It's the best depth we've had. I look at our second line and go back 6 years, that would have been the first line. So that's real improvement. And Coach Turner's done a great job, really has.
You've said that the past month was Spencer Brown's time to shine. What have you seen from the development, growth physically, and the strength and conditioning program, and any noticeable differences?
Yeah, I think what Spencer did is he turned over a team that's, without a doubt, stronger, bigger, and faster. He turned over a team that's more connected, and that's what I asked him to do. Right, this summer I asked him, when you turn that team over to me opening night of training camp, I want that team to be a more connected team. And certainly the physical attributes are something that are easy to measure. The connectivity of the team is not quite as easy. So I think that was all important.
Greg, Kelly Zinn recently celebrated her 1-year anniversary as AD here. How have you seen this program change under her watch?
Yeah, Kelly's been great. I think she's done a tremendous job. I think she's learning a lot in her first year as far as being the AD at Rutgers, right? Every school is different, and you have to kind of get the lay of the land, and she's done that incredibly, right? She has a great team put together. Todd Nisley is our football administrator, does a great job working with her. But I think the whole athletic department, she's forming the athletic department in her image and the way she wants it, and it's good. The way things are working, I've made mention of it. I think there's vertical alignment from our president down through our athletic director through the head football coach, and when you have that, it gives you a real good chance.
Go down the line to finish up.
There have been some recent court rulings in the bigger picture side. Some of the class of 2022 athletes will be eligible for a 5th year. I guess, have you guys looked into that possibility, and are you open to making additions this late in the process?
Yeah, whenever there's an opportunity to improve your football team, we're always going to take a look. Does it mean we do anything? I don't know, right? We'll see. First, we need some clarity on what exactly it is. There's certainly a lot of things being posted, a lot of things being put out there, but until there's some certainty, you don't want to do anything. But that doesn't mean that we're not doing a ton of background work on players, going back and going through our evaluations. We've met on it, and there's guys working on it as we speak, right? Because you always want to be prepared. I tell the players in life, you always want to have choices. Right? When you don't have choices, that means you didn't do a great job of preparing, and now the choices are made for you. And I want to make sure that we have choices if and when things do officially change.
You spoke about depth. Is this the most depth you've had at the quarterback room since you've been back? And is there any thought at all to potentially playing 2 quarterbacks this year, or are you pretty confident or plan to play 1 quarterback as usual?
Yeah, I do like our depth in the quarterback room. I think it's quality depth. I'd like to play 1 quarterback. That's, I think every coach would say that. When we haven't, it's been because that was what gave us the best chance to win. But certainly, we've gotten into a situation here where you get a quarterback, he comes in, he grows, he performs, he gets better and better. That's what I'd like to happen.
Final question.
When you have a QB battle like this going on, how do you want them to kind of strike the balance between maybe trying some things in a practice, that could help them improve long term, some higher risk plays, but also without the fear of them being hurt in the short term and hurting themselves in this competition? How do you kind of strike that balance?
Yeah, that's very real. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not, right? But part of that is if you're willing to take a little chance, you may just really shine, right? This thing's down. Is that what you're pointing at, Jimmy? Okay, how's that? Good. Yeah, that's real. I think any quarterback would tell you that, right? Same thing like a pitcher in baseball. You're trying to become the guy. Or he's got 3 balls and you're willing to throw a curveball. You might get him out, but you're harder to be accurate, right? I think that's real in all sport, in all competition. But that, to me, is what great competitors have. They have that feel, that balance. They know when it's time to take a risk, when it's not. And that's something that we're actually looking for when you talk about the qualities that you're looking for in the quarterback. That's one of them, right? Because certainly we don't want to turn the ball over, ever. But if you play it too safe, then you're never going to make those spectacular plays. And we have some playmakers on the perimeter that we want to give them chances to make plays. So, yeah, that's a great question, actually, something Kirk and I were just talking about this morning. So you must have been in that meeting room. Huh? Again, guys, I appreciate you covering the team. I look forward to the season together. And here we go, training camp 2026. Thanks.